Have you ever spent hours reading your textbooks only to forget everything the next day? You're not alone. Most students use study methods that simply don't work. But here's the good news. Cognitive science has discovered powerful techniques that can transform how you learn. And today, I'm going to share them with you. Let's start with when to study. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that cortisol, the hormone that enhances focus, peaks in the morning hours. This makes your brain more receptive to new information. But not everyone operates on the same schedule. A study from the University of Arizona found that students who consumed caffeine in the early morning showed significant improvement in memory performance. Interestingly, caffeine had no effect on memory in the afternoon. Now let's talk about what actually works during study sessions. Despite decades of research, most students rely on strategies that produce minimal gains. Highlighting and rereading notes feel productive but are actually among the least effective methods. The single most powerful technique is called retrieval practice. This isn't about reading or reviewing. It's about pulling information out of your brain. Think of your memory like a muscle. Reading is like watching someone else lift weights. Retrieval practice is like lifting those weights yourself. It's harder, but that difficulty is what makes it effective. A study published in the journal Learning and Instruction followed students learning complex concepts. Those who used retrieval practice, testing themselves with flashcards and practice questions, significantly outperformed those who simply restudied the material. The benefits lasted over time. Now let's talk about spacing. When you have an exam in a week, what do? Most people cram. But research from the National Institutes of Health tells a different story. Spacing study sessions across days requires more planning, but produces dramatically better long-term retention. One study found that students use spacing less than 5% of the time. Most students access study tools immediately before exams, which is the worst possible time for their brains to consolidate information effectively. Sleep plays a critical role here. Professor Ken Purnell from CQ University, Australia, explains that sleep is when the brain locks learning into memory. When you cram all night, you're actively preventing your brain from doing its most important work. If you're finding this valuable, please take a moment to subscribe to Hope and Positivity. We create content like this to help you become the best version of yourself. Here's another powerful technique called interleaving. Most people study by doing all the algebra problems, then all the geometry problems. It feels efficient. But research shows that mixing different types of problems within one session is actually more effective. Studies from cognitive scientists demonstrate that interleaving forces your brain to constantly identify which strategy to use exactly what you need on a real exam. Now, why don't we use these strategies naturally? The NIH study discovered that students actually know what works. But effective strategies require more effort and feel harder in the moment. Students interpret that difficulty as a sign that they're not learning. This is what researchers call desirable difficulties. The very things that make learning effective are the things we instinctively avoid. A study from Oregon State University found that students learn about study techniques primarily from teachers and friends. Published research is the least common source. The most reliable information reaches students last. Let's talk about practical application. After each lecture, spend 10 minutes writing a summary without looking at your notes. This is retrieval practice. Force your brain to reconstruct what you learned. Use the Pomodoro technique. Work in focused 25-minute blocks, then take 5-minute breaks. During breaks, move your body. Even a brisk walk does more for concentration than another hour of staring at notes. Create a study environment that supports focus. A study from the University of Arizona tested whether exercise could improve memory like caffeine does. Exercise alone didn't boost memory performance. This tells us that not all arousal helps learning. If you're doing deep, focused work, eliminate distractions. Put your phone in another room. But sometimes background noise helps. Some students focus better in cafes. Experiment and find what works for you. If this message resonates with you, please like this video. Your likes help us reach students who desperately need this information. Use the 10-minute rule when you feel overwhelmed. Tell yourself you'll work on this for just 10 minutes. Anyone can do 10 minutes. What usually happens is that once you start, you keep going. Motivation builds as you work, not before. When you retrieve information, your brain strengthens the neural pathways associated with that memory. Each retrieval makes the pathway faster and more efficient. When you space your learning, your brain continues processing information unconsciously between sessions. A University of Arizona thesis found that even brief interventions about study strategies significantly changed students' behaviors. When students understood why these strategies worked, they actually used them. This means we're not stuck with ineffective habits. I want to hear from you. What study techniques have worked for you? What challenges are you facing? Please comment below. Your insights might help someone else in our community. For memorization-heavy subjects like anatomy, use spaced repetition systems. Apps like Anki schedule reviews based on exactly when you're about to forget. For conceptual subjects like philosophy, teach the material to someone else. Generate examples from your own life. Research shows that generating examples benefits learning more than extra study time. For problem-solving subjects like math, mix different problem types. It will feel harder. That's how you know it's working. For reading-heavy subjects, stop highlighting so much. Research consistently shows that highlighting produces minimal learning gains. Instead, read a section, then close the book and summarize what you just read. For lecture-based classes, prepare before class with pre-testing. Answer questions about material you haven't learned yet. Research shows pre-testing significantly enhances subsequent learning. When you struggle to answer, your brain becomes primed to notice the answer during lecture. Rereading notes produces small gains at best. Recopying notes is similarly weak. Simple highlighting does little. Cramming produces short-term gains, but long-term forgetting. Now you know there's a better way. Before your next study session, clarify your goal. Not study biology, but explain the Krebs cycle without looking at notes. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Remove all distractions. During those minutes, actively engage with the material. Test yourself. Write summaries. Explain concepts out loud. When the timer rings, take a 5-minute break. Stand up and walk around. Don't check social media. Your brain needs true rest. Your study location matters. A cluttered space creates cognitive load. Your brain processes every visual distraction, even when you think you're ignoring it. Keep your space clean and organized.